Before we adjourn court today, if the chief would allow me and the other justices to make a few remarks.
My goodness.
With leave of the court. And it's wonderful that we have, I don't know what you did, you've got security brought in for you. In all seriousness, the justices spoke earlier, and we wanted to take just a couple of minutes to express a deep sense of appreciation and gratitude to you. Obviously, for those watching and others, there's been reference several times today that today is a particularly noteworthy day, and it's noteworthy that you are in the chair of the chief. That today is the last day on the bench, certainly not the last day in office. We look forward to having you through the end of the year, absolutely, but today is the last argument day for the fall term of 2020, and Chief Justice Workman on the bench here today. I spoke with Chief Justice Armstead, and he asked me to express a few words on his behalf, so I'm going to start off with those, and I might add a few of for myself, and then recognize Justice Hutchison, and then maybe Justice Walker would conclude. Chief Justice Armstead, we all recognize this has been an extraordinary year. He has been chief during a time of pandemic where there has been enormous challenges facing the court system and ensuring the administration of justice for the people of West Virginia. And he is particularly appreciative of the steady hand, the advice, the counsel, and the leadership during his very challenging year. There are some of us who have not been on the bench long, and we take these leadership positions in title, but we cannot succeed without those who have served, have blazed the trail, who know the ropes, and he is, as all of us, eternally grateful for what you have done in particular this year, in addition to an extraordinary tenure over the years. But justice continued this year. People in need had access, and we could not have steered this ship. He could not have without your incredible guidance. He appreciates your friendship. He appreciates all the good times we've had with the door closed in conference, just the five of us together. So he is eternally grateful and appreciates you and congratulates you on an incredible tenure of service. Now, for my quick additional remarks, we are not a court of record. We often remind ourselves, but being on video and those watching, and for those in the future who will look back upon this day, you have established a record of incredible service to the people of West Virginia and this state. We all know and have seen in spades your dedication to children. It has always been your hallmark. It is each time you have been chief, and when you have not been chief, you have always stood up for children. And I have seen your dedication to family. Family is so important to you. And I think that you have treated us as your colleagues as family. And I appreciate always the care and concern you have expressed towards me and my family. And I just know how important family and children are. Interestingly, I was sworn in this chamber in 1988, the year you ran for this job. So I missed literally by months you not being on this bench. But it has been a joy for me these past 2 years to see how many people have stood at bar admission ceremonies who in older generations or younger generations you have worked with their parents, and to see their children get admitted to the bar here in West Virginia. You get to know somebody when you work with them on a daily basis. And because we are a court of or not a court of record, we always talk about how we speak through paper and our orders. I have had the opportunity to work with you in person for the past 2 years and seen you in every form or fashion as we work through the difficult decisions. And I can think of nobody who is caring, as passionate, and compassionate as you are in the way you have carried out the duties as a justice of our state's highest court. And while I came in, and Chief Justice Armstead and Justice Hutchison, and awkward times, I will tell you, these past 2 years, you have helped lead in a significant way a court in a positive direction, and making sure that for generations to come, that the integrity, the respect of the Supreme Court is at the highest. So a debt of gratitude, an appreciation. Thank you for these last 2 years I have personally had with you. Thank you for the number of years you've served the people of West Virginia, and we wish you the very best in retirement. Good health, enjoy the grandkids, and have a well-deserved retirement. Justice Hutchison.
Well, thank you very much. I've been around a little bit longer than most of the guys here, not quite as long as Chief Justice Workman. But
he always has to throw that in.
I'm a little older than that. But, you know, my experience with Justice Workman spans my time as a lawyer appearing before her in the Circuit Court of Kanawha County, my time as a colleague being on the bench, in the circuit bench, and having the opportunity to work with Justice Workman through the years. I mean, Justice Workman, 99 to 2009, and then another 11, 12 years after that, when she got back on the bench. I guess she came back on in 2009.
Correct.
And had been 2009 to the present. I'll give you remind you or tell you a little story. You won't remember this, but I appeared as in a case in front of you on the Kanawha County bench, and I appeared specially because my client had been improperly sued, and I appeared before you to get my client out. Now I came, and I had to wait a while because apparently the hairdresser was running late and you didn't get back in time. But I had to wait a while.
And now you can't even go to one.
But I recognized at that time, after I walked out, I recognized that you were a force to be dealt with. I didn't need a haircut, and I had to give my eyebrows time to grow back on whenever I did not do what you wanted me to do, and give some information that my client had specifically told me not to give. I paid the price, he didn't. But I am not surprised, based upon my very first encounter with you, that you smashed the glass ceiling for women in the state of West Virginia. The first woman to be elected to statewide office, and you opened the door to a lot of people, and I may have stolen a little bit of Beth's thunder, I hope not, but that fact has impressed me over the years. I have enjoyed being your colleague and attending conferences with you and dealing with you while I was on the circuit bench, and I speak, I think, for the group of judges that would be in my class and during the time that I was on the circuit bench, that we truly appreciated the support and the backing that we got from you while you were chief and even when you were not chief. We knew that we, as judges, could depend upon Margaret Workman to have our backs, and we greatly appreciate that. And I've been here since January of 2019, and I have listened and learned so much from you in terms of the transition from the circuit bench to this bench. And so I appreciate everything that you have done for me personally, but more for the people of the state of West Virginia and the judiciary. And I appreciate you greatly. I wish you the best of luck and the best of health. Thank you.
Justice Workman, I will try not to repeat what's been said very eloquently by our colleagues, but 30 years ago this month, I stood in these chambers and was sworn in as a lawyer, and you were on the bench. in 1990. It was your second year. Our paths crossed again on the campaign trail in 2008. And I'll never forget the morning after the election that year when you called and and well, what you said to me is, "Girl, you gave me a scare." And I wasn't successful, and you were, but I got there eventually. In 2016 when I was elected, and in 2017 when I arrived. You and I don't agree on a lot of things, but we have a fair amount in common as well. Neither of us could be accused to be shrinking violets. And I have learned, as an entire generation of women lawyers in West Virginia have learned from you as a mentor. I, of course, wish you well in your retirement, but you're leaving me alone with these guys. You know what it's like to serve on this court as the only woman. Justice Davis knew what it was like, and I guess I'll get my turn as the third woman on this court to be the only one. But I will always cherish our service together, everything I've learned from you. We went through the most difficult professional time in either of our lives together. And in the very worst of all of that, there was some comfort in knowing that I was not alone in that challenge. And I learned a lot from you in that context. I learned a lot from serving with you. And I will always be thinking about you as I sit on this bench and have this honor. And I will always remember everything you've done for me personally and for women in West Virginia. So thank you.
Thank you. I had no idea these guys were going to do this, so I'm kind of speechless, but I want to thank each of you. I want to thank Chief Justice Armstead, who I think is still watching, and each of these other wonderful colleagues. As Justice Walker said, we first came together when we were running for this office in 2008, and I won every county in the whole state by a huge margin in the Democratic primary, but then I had to face Beth Walker. And yes, she did give me a scare. She ran a very good campaign, and I kind of slipped in there. But when there were tumultuous times that we've shared, and I think that it was 2018 and 19, I had to step in as chief. I believe it was 2018, under some very bad circumstances, and try to hold the court system together and try to begin a process that might help restore people's faith in our court system. And then Justice Walker was chosen by acclamation the following year to continue that work, and she did an amazing job. And there was so much accomplished that year that really moved the court forward with regard to policies and transparency and so many other things that I think have really enhanced the court's reputation in the state. So I have to thank you for that. And I do call her, and we do argue internally, but it's about issues. It's never personal. And I think she's right. She and I both have a little bit of stubborn streak, but, you know, we're not going to deny that. And Justice Armstead then took over for a year, and he has done an amazing job under really difficult circumstances. And when the new people, well, before you, Justice Hutchison, when Justices Jenkins and Justice Armstead came on, things have been very tumultuous, as you all know, and yet we immediately started working together well, and I can really truly say I feel like everybody on this court is now my friend, my personal friend. I have enjoyed the collegiality. I don't know, Chief Justice Armstead and I constantly send each other pictures of our grandchildren, and we have formed a good friendship, and I feel like I have also with Justice Jenkins and with Justice Hutchison, who, even though I did give him a T-shirt, that he can kind of wax eloquent but lengthily when he discusses a case, and I did give him a T-shirt that said, everybody's entitled to my opinion, and at length, too. But
Now wear it at home.
And it was nice to have another circuit judge come up here and he was able to refresh me on so many things that are different on the circuit bench now. And I want to thank Justice Jenkins for always his good humor. And when we first started getting to know each other, I said, your mother raised a good boy, because he's always had very personable, very gracious. He graciously asked me to sit as the Chief Justice on my last day, and I very much appreciate it. And I wish Justice Armstead was here, because, you know, he really has brought us together this year in a way, in a very difficult year. And I want each of you to know that I appreciate you, and I really respect each of you, and I am really grateful for the friendship and the collegiality that you have all shown to me. And so with that, I shouldn't make any more speeches, but the last thing I will say is, I remember I told Justice Walker, I said, a few months back, I said, I'm counting on you to do one thing. And she said, what? I said, watch out for children and preserve judicial independence. And you promised that you would do those things. So I'm going to go ahead and ask all of you to do the same, and I know you will. So thank you very much for the honor of doing it. Thank you.